And with that, we are back, and it is time for what I would like to think is the big moment. Not to discredit any of these teams or the tournament at all, but there is, of course, that big announcement that I know a lot of people are waiting for. That is what the hero pool is going to be for the week of April 20th. Before we do any kind of reveals, though, Avril, do you want to go through what the hero pool was for last week?
As a reminder here, what we've already seen in the previous week cannot be banned again for this week's hero pool. So that has been McCree, Widowmaker, Reinhardt, and Brigitte. Those four are safe going into next week. And as a little fun tidbit, I want to mention that McCree and Widowmaker have been banned together at one point in the first opening week. McCree's been banned every single opportunity that he has been available to be banned. So he's basically banned and then unbanned and then banned and then unbanned again.
Just flip-flopping, right? Just alternating week in, week out. Also, as well, let's go ahead and take a look at what heroes are actually eligible to be banned for this week. We're going to take a look at some of their play percentages on the support side. I think this is like one of the most standout things here is Ana at 77.9%. The rest of the supports, Mercy at 22, Moira at 21, just below 22% actually, and Lucio at 19%. So like a much narrower band there, far more consistent, with Ana just totally blowing the rest out of the water. The tanks are relatively even top to bottom. Sigma up at 33. You've got Orisa 29%, Winston at 22%, and it's sort of that, again, similar band. The lowest we actually get is Roadhog at 17%, so that's the eligible bands there, all relatively similarly played. We've even seen that a bit across today, right? We see a big variety in the tank lineup, and then to round things off on the DPS side, our eligible bands here are Tracer, Ashe, and Echo at 25, 20, and 18% respectively.
Yeah, so these are definitely impacted by everyone playing the heroes as well, so, you know, this is why Echo's on there. We saw a lot of Echo obviously today from this tournament, but that's because we had to play Echo here. Ana's the one that I think is very interesting. 77.9% is ridiculously huge. So, you know, the difference between that and Mercy, as was mentioned, is just insane. I think for the tanks, it's been very even. I think what we can gather from tanks at the moment, it's just been pretty healthy. Everyone's playing a bunch of different tanks, and of course, the three possible DPSs that are in the pool, which means 2 out of the 3 of them are gone. Only one hero between Tracer, Ashe, and Echo will actually survive the bans coming into this week, but that's enough of that. I'm actually going to get into it now. I know exactly what they are. We're going to reveal this one, so hang on to your seats. Number 1 coming through is actually going to be Tracer. The tank is going to be Orisa. The support is going to be Moira. That means the last DPS, I saved it for last, it's actually going to be Echo. Ashe survives, Echo's gone, Tracer's gone, and Orisa, Moira are also out of the pool.
Oh, my poor heart. All of that Echo we just saw, all of that excitement, I'm like, what's this going to look like? How is this going to... all of these great things. Look, it doesn't mean we're never going to see Echo again, but certainly for this next week, we're not going to be having any Echo whatsoever. That's a little bit of a heartbreaker, but maybe the converse side of that, I suppose, is like, what is now notably unbanned again is McCree, right? Like... yeah, we lose out of the Echo, but hey, McCree's back, everyone. Enjoy yourselves.
To be honest, in some ways, it's kind of healthy that we don't see Echo too early, just kind of shoved into the Overwatch League. I think most pros would actually prefer a little bit of extra time to sort of get used to Echo, to try just kind of play around with her a bit more, and actually, you know, walk into scrims, have the practice in there, and then once we see Echo unbanned the following week, that's when we get to see the pros actually use her and actually, you know, well, assuming that she'll be available for Overwatch League, that's when we can start to see some real high-level usage where all the pros get to kind of have their turn to try Echo out and see what they can do with it. But to be honest, I'm kind of okay with looking at this list so far. McCree needs a bit of breathing space. Mei is available, and when you have McCree and Mei available together, I do wonder, does the Mei-Cree comp come back in? Because that has been forever really strong so far for this year.
Yeah. I like to imagine that we will see that, and you're dead right about the Echo, right? If anything, it gives those teams that extra bit of time, because obviously the following week Echo is guaranteed to not be banned, so it becomes a possibility, assuming it is eligible to be played in Overwatch League in general, which I think it might be by that point. Don't hold me to that. But at any rate, I think you're dead right about the sort of the Mei-Cree situation. jury's out on whether or not we're looking forward to that. I mean, that's a lie. I love watching some good McCree. I really do. I'm a sucker for good McCree. It's really satisfying. I'm still working on that McCree cosplay, by the way.
I think, by the way, I just want to point out, I think a lot of
McCree.
support players held their breath there. I know there's a lot of Anna mains out there. I personally don't like to see Anna out of the pool because I think she is probably one of, if not the most highest skill capped support hero among the entire pool. And most people enjoy both playing her and playing against her. A lot of support players are probably okay with Moira being gone. A lot of support players would have probably not enjoyed if Lucio was gone. So, on that regard, that's probably fine. Orisa being gone, I think most people probably won't care too much about that. Does mean Ryan is going to see a bit of a spike. Does mean Winston's going to be seeing a bit of a spike. Does mean that you're unlikely to see as much Sigma because the Orisa-Sigma duo is really big. I also want to say, because there's no Orisa, strangely that also means Doomfist might go down because Doom somewhat relies on Orisa for Hulk combos.
Yeah, the old sort of Holt punch, the 1-2 alley-oop kind of situation, whatever you want to call it. I think maybe another thing to note there is obviously with Brigida back in the pool, you've got some other things slightly more cleanly enabled. Yeah, exactly. Like I think on the whole, we're looking at a pretty solid week. Like when I sort of think over the variety of team compositions that are going to be available, the sorts of things we're likely to see, I think this is going to be a good kind of almost baseline, like gumboot standard kind of week. Nothing too crazy in or out of the pool. And I think we're really going to see we're going to get some solid metrics between teams in places where we maybe already don't have them, right? Like, things are going to be solidly put to the test. How well can you just play a bog standard game of Overwatch?
And I think that is going to be broken down into two specific compositions. Again, we already mentioned May McCree. I do wonder if May is going to see a lot more playtime, considering that her regular left-click auto-attack has been significantly nerfed, the Endothermic Blaster. So that's basically the only major nerf that you really want to consider for May. Still good, though. Still a good hero, in my opinion. The other composition that we talk about has to be coming through from Dive. Playing Dive without Tracer might be a little bit tough, but look, Doom and Genji and a bunch of other heroes are kind of still in there. Brigida's back in, like we mentioned, so we'll see if Dive really works without Tracer. That's probably the biggest problem here, but aside from that, it'll probably be a mix of Dive and also May McCree would be my guess.